Hello everyone, I am Mattmatt and this is Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. It is arguably the best Uncharted game, my favourite, and it is a very, very interesting, very broken speedrun. And I'm joined by my lovely commentators if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
I'm heyfrench.
And I'm Wi-Fi011. We are also joined by the wonderful Hutchtee, but as he's unfortunately lost his voice, he won't be talking, but he will be letting us know if he wants to say anything through either myself or French.
Yeah. So let's just get it started. Which skin won the donations? I'm assuming it's Wetsuit Elena. That's what was winning.
Yes, indeed. Wetsuit Elena is the model. I want to thank everybody who raised $6,395 towards participating in that bid war. And I want to shout out Default Drake with this $36. Don't worry, we'll get him next time, Nathan.
So we'll be playing on the easiest difficulty, which is Explorer. I'm gonna skip. Usually the timer would start when I skip the cutscene, but I'm gonna get the timer to start on a restart checkpoint after I've chosen the skin. It's just a bit more convenient, so let me do that quickly. Wetsuit Elena. Okay. So get ready on time. 3, 2, 1, go. So the start of the speedrun is very boring. There's not really much to say. We're just gonna climb this train. So if one of you guys want to start explaining the skip at the top.
Sure, French, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. When we get to the top of this train, Matt is going to roll off the edge and climb back up, and for some reason unknown to us, it's going to allow him to stand on air and high enough that he can reach the roof of the train and jump across it, which will allow us to skip a long cutscene, but it's also got an added benefit of keeping a faster movement speed, because normally when you go through the cutscene, Nate walks to the next area with a very slow animation just to kind of show how injured he is from the train crash.
Yeah. It mainly allows us to also keep our mobility up, because usually after that cutscene you would lose the ability to jump, I think, as well, which isn't very good in a speedrun where you'd like to jump around. So it allows us to keep that, and it also allows us to keep our normal posture instead of staggering, which is very useful. So yeah, I'm going to do that skip in a second.
Also to note, as a side effect of the skip, the camera will be locked in a fixed position. This makes it a bit hard to know where you're going if you're doing the skip for the first time or if you're new to the run. But as Matt is an experienced pro, he knows exactly where he's going. So we'll see him move into position quickly to get to the next area.
Oh, I didn't get the little boost. I'll try it again. Sometimes it just doesn't work. It's kind of random.
Can be a bit finicky, yes.
There we go. Oh, that's sketchy. I was on the edge for some reason. Okay, so yeah, so we're going to come over to this little gap over here. And we're going to basically get into it, and I'm going to take cover, which allows me to get through. And I'm going to navigate through that area without being able to see, to hit this trigger, which gives us our camera back. Yeah, so we shouldn't be able to jump or do much of anything here, but because we did that skip, now I can jump and stuff. So the fastest way to move in this game is the blind fire. I'm not going to do that here much because I do like to conserve my ammo, because there is a chance that if you get a reload animation while climbing a ledge, you'll get stuck, and it's really annoying. So I'm just going to jump a lot to avoid that. Yeah, the start of this speedrun is, especially this chapter, is kind of slow. Chapter 2 also has a lot of stuff in it, but it also is a little bit slow, but the game will really break open once we get to chapter 3. So now we just got to watch this little cutscene of Nate. Well, I say Nate, it's technically Elena now, getting nearly crushed.
Yes, as another thing to note about this chapter, we do actually return to this location later on in the game, about at the midpoint. And many people have asked in the past if there's a way that we can skip directly from this chapter to that chapter. And it turns out that that's not exactly possible. Do you want to explain why that is, Matt?
Yeah, so basically there's a trigger that would spawn the cutscene to allow you to get into chapter 16, but it's to do with the fight in chapter 15. It won't actually spawn until you do that fight, and there's no way to trigger that fight to spawn in this chapter, so unfortunately there's just no way to do it, but it would be very good if we could. So that's chapter 1 done. We can do some little bit of tricks straight away. You can get ahead of in there, but it's kind of awkward sometimes. So I'm going to get myself into this corner. It's going to allow me to elevate my heart a little bit to climb up here. Now I'm kind of out of bounds, and I need to do a kind of tricky jump to get over here and grab this ledge. I didn't get it. It can be awkward because you can't really see, and you want to try and run off the ledge as much as you can to elongate the jump. If you don't, you won't be able to make it. There we go. It's kind of awkward. That didn't really save any time at that point, but still cool to show off. You have to come back here to hit a trigger.
Oh, wait.
Or Finn won't do his thing.
Must have made a wrong turn somewhere. Hey. No,
There is a skip you can do it. I'll try and do it. Or if we can get into this corner.
from there.
Oh, I did it.
Beautiful.
Nice.
In like Flynn.
That's really difficult to do, actually. You can climb the ladder early, but it's trying to stand in that corner is very hard. I guess that made up for failing the other skip. So do you want, one of you want to explain the cutscene skip? Because I guess there's kind of a little bit going on there, and you wouldn't really notice it if you're watching.
Sure. So coming up in this chapter, soon we're going to have to turn a valve and then make a few jumps. And the game wants us to shimmy across a certain ledge, but we're going to completely skip that by jumping what would be in a pretty sketchy location. But Matt will jump there and he'll grab onto a different ledge. And then from there, he'll be able to roll under a certain window and do a little bit of maneuvering from there. And that should avoid a 10-second or like 12-second cutscene. Or in-game cinematic rather, where him and Nate and Flynn talk about the plan, or like they just have a little discussion. And this is it coming up here. So you'll see him roll against this window, and then roll again, and then he has to enter photo mode. So photo mode is quite interesting. It's used in a few different locations throughout this run, and it has varying uses. So in that instance, it allows you to move again. And to make jumps. In certain locations, you will use it to, for example, load in areas or something like that.
Great.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this build. So if there's things that happen that you miss or we don't explain, then there's just so much going on that it's hard to keep track of everything. Like there, I just clipped through that door, no big deal. And here I'm going to skip the cover tutorial by vaulting over the cover and using the inspect mode to... Basically, when you vault over cover and use inspect or aim, you can actually stand in midair for like a couple seconds, and it allows you to basically just skip stuff. So here I'm going to do an actual photo mode trick, which Ward was just talking about. I'm going to trigger photo mode, which lets me gain control during this cutscene. I'm going to wait here a second for these enemies to come through, because they've been seeing me early and they get stuck behind the door for some reason. So I'm going to punch them. And just jump into this trigger. That allows us to kill them a lot sooner than we would usually be able to. So French, do you want to explain how awful this next part is? Although apparently, according to Wild, it's not awful and it is consistent.
It's only awful and inconsistent if you were Mattmatt.
Yes.
We just you're meant to stealth through this next section and take out any kind of guard that could see you before they see you. But we found that there's an optimized path where you can just run through everything, and a little bit of luck, you won't get spotted at all.
It's awful.
But sometimes it just goes wrong.
But, yeah, knowing my luck, it will go wrong now. Although the past couple of runs I've done, the past few days, it hasn't. So this would be the time that it would. And it loses like 20, 30 seconds if you mess it up, something like that. I'm not sure exactly how much time you lose by failing it, but it's quite annoying. So I'm going to try and get through it. If I do get spotted, it'll either be because I messed up or because the game just hates me. So we'll see which way it'll go, or if I'll do it.
But we know the game hates you anyway.
That's true. We just need to get precise movement through this area, and we should be able to get through without getting spotted, but like French said, if you're me, it sometimes just doesn't work. Hopefully, I just need to get into this window up here and jump and get a cutscene trigger. Hopefully, I can get in there before I get spotted, if I'm going to. Good.
And we're good, nice.
Good, good, good.
All right, let's take these guys out.
So if we stand on this on the edge, we can actually climb up here without having to push the car down there with Flynn. But he'll just get up on his own, no problem.
Up to that walkway.
He's a big boy. So do you want to explain the like window clip up here?
Sure. So when you take cover against certain walls in this game, you can actually clip through if you aim at the right spot and release the cover button at the right time. So what you'll see coming up is Matt's gonna go up to a ledge in the corner, and he's gonna take cover. He's gonna aim at a certain point and then release, aim, and cover, and then jump, and he'll be clipped through the wall. It's not used that often in the run because of like how useful the other tech that's coming up will be, but it is useful in this instance.
Like if you think this is broken so far, you haven't even seen anything yet. Trust me. As soon as we get after this chapter, the game just gets blown wide open, and I'm sure French will have a very good lot to say about that when we get there.
I will.
He's made like a little Google Doc with loads of stuff to talk about, because there's a lot going on and there's a lot to explain in really quick time. So, but we still got a little bit more to do in this chapter first. Also, I should point out, people are talking about me shooting people. I'm not actually shooting them. It's a trank gun. We're just knocking them out, so it's fine. Also, yeah, we can restart checkpoint in some spots to speed things up. So I'm going to restart checkpoint here as well. And that makes it so that Flynn's already put the rope in place, ready for me to go. So I can just climb up straight away. So right here, you can do a little like fast climb. If you climb onto this wall at a certain spot, we can actually climb onto the ladder and straight off to get straight onto the bars. It can be kind of awkward though. Also, I can get a little bug here where the camera can basically lock to the monkey bars when I jump down here. Let's see if I get it. No, okay, good. It's fine if you do. You don't just have to restart. It's like a couple second time loss, but it's no big deal. So I'm gonna snipe that guy. I'm gonna try and jump over here. Don't know what I hit then, but I hit something.
We can't get any closer with the
And now we've got some time to kill. So if you want to read any donations, then go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. We got ourselves $25 from Hutchtee on the virtual couch, saying, "Good luck, Matt." And so said, "I'm not well to commentate with you. French and Wildy, fantastic community and great cause." Thank you, Hutchtee. I see you there. We see you there. We appreciate that. We've also got ourselves a $25 donation from the Crank Machine, saying, "We're raising money so fast that we're heading into Uncharted territory. Drake's fortune net that the run is in capable hands. Save time by stealing frames like we're among thieves." Thank you for those puns, that very painful donation. I appreciate it, sir. We also have ourselves $50 from Ambi, saying, "Getting comfy, settling in for some great runs here. Had to donate for those wonderful Sailor Moon earrings. Good luck to Mattmatt on the run. Shout out to my comfy pals and speed friends. Donation goes to Bishojo Senshi Sailor Moon R hard mode. And y'all are doing great on that already. $860 out of 15,000 met. Well on the way to meeting it. It's looking great, but we can do better. Let's get those donations in for a chat. Let's go. Back to you."
So, French, if you want to start explaining the stuff for the next chapter so you can get a head start.
Sure. So in Chapter 3, we get access to Nate's journal, which you're going to see Matt use to break Uncharted 2's physics so that he can skip many, many things throughout the run. So it's the journal itself that's pretty broken. When you open it, it puts you into a temporary soft lock state until you close it again. The most basic glitch you can do with the journal is what we call a journal extend. So if you're moving and opening the journal while holding a gun, you keep moving in the same direction while Nate's putting the gun away until the journal opens, even if there's no ground below you.
All right. First one set.
Yeah, and coming up in a few seconds, we'll be thrown into our first fight sequence of this chapter. But we'll be skipping the rest of them because after the fight, you'll see Matt do a book launch that's going to allow him to skip some platforming and triggers. And these triggers are what would initiate the enemies to spawn in the upcoming fights, but we're going to avoid them completely.
You brought a hooker to church?
Yeah.
So to talk a bit more about the tech, a book launch is essentially just the same as a journal extend, but it's done on or near a ledge, and it has the effect of launching you either upwards or it can launch you downwards, depending on how you do it.
So if you want to try and explain the airwalk zip, because I'm going to attempt to do that.
Sure.
Yep, so
Go on,
coming up very quickly, you'll see Matt do a zip airwalk. Don't blink or you might miss it. The airwalk is a glitch that happens when you switch weapons before doing a journal extend. Basically, the game gets really confused and fully soft locks you. When you do this while moving, it allows you to keep moving indefinitely in one direction. Again, even if there's no ground below you. The zip airwalk coming up right now is a really fast version, which is caused when you put Nate into a position where you get stuck on collision briefly, but can break free afterwards. You somehow build up and release this burst of momentum that greatly increases how fast you go during the airwalk.
No. I couldn't see the spot I was trying to aim at to line it up. Took me a minute. Because there's a lot of like moving geometry on the floor when you're doing that, and kind of hard to line up and see the spot I was trying to aim at. Usually I'd set that up with Nate's skin, his foot, but because I'm using a different skin, I had to find a new setup, so it's fine. I got it, so that's all that matters. So now we're gonna do another book launch here. So we're gonna do an extend, like a full stagger book launch, where we're gonna full stagger in a like left or right direction. If I can stagger, please. Hello. You don't. It's really easy to fall off this thing like that. You don't want to edge too far off to try and get the stagger on the ledge, or you will fall. There is another way to do this area, but this is a little bit faster if you get the stagger fast, which I am not. There we go. I'm going to jump onto this tree. And I'm going to jump down here onto this log, and we can get into this area, which skips a cutscene. It does skip this fight too, but there is also another way you can skip this fight without doing that, but that way also skips the cutscene and like a bit of waiting at the start. So you've already seen the airwalk, but that was a zipped airwalk that I did across that pit. But now I'm going to do a normal airwalk. So if you want to explain how that works, just a regular airwalk.
Sure. So a regular airwalk functions by switching between a long gun and a pistol, or vice versa. And while Nate is in the animation of putting a gun away, if you hit the journal button, that will soft lock you. But if you do that while you're moving as well, then that soft locks you in the animation that you're moving in. And that applies even if there's no ground below you. And so that's why it's called an airwalk. But if you hit the grenade button just before you hit journal, then that will allow you to hold a grenade out. And that's useful because when you're in the airwalk animation, you're soft locked, of course. But taking damage from a grenade will break you out of that soft lock, allowing you to gain control of Nate again. Which is what we saw.
Yeah, so the grenade is very, very useful. And especially they added like a slight delay when you pull it out, and that is a godsend, because if that delay was not there, we could not open it with the airwalk. So very useful. So there is two ways to do what I'm about to do. There's the way I'm going to do, which is sadly about 2 minutes slower than the fast route. The fast route is quite difficult, and I'd rather not do it in a marathon run. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with it, and I could lose a lot of time. So I'm just going to do the easier route. But they're still both pretty cool in their own right. So if you want to explain like the actual skip I'm going to do the normal straight airwalk, not the zip. So.
Go!
Yeah, sure. So the strat which most runners will do in runs will involve grabbing first 2 grenades off of these 3 enemies. But if you stealth pull the first grenade, he'll drop a grenade for you to pick up. and then from there you'll want to do a book launch up onto the roof to our right. That will allow us to get out of bounds, and from there we're going to do a precise airwalk. So this has to be very, very specific. There is very little margin for error with the angle at which you're going for this airwalk. So Matt's going to take some time to set it up, and there we go.
That might be fine.
It should be okay.
Yeah, that should be fine.
That looks good.
As I said, the angle is very specific. So even if you're like a little bit too far left or right, then it can mess with the airwalk, because we're going to be walking for like around 2 minutes, and over that extended period of time.
This does seem sketchy. I mean, if this fails, I might as well have just tried this at this point. I should have probably restarted that. Usually, I wanted to be certain it was going to work, but this might be a bit too far to the right. I'll just wait a bit longer to pause this.
I'd say it's worth continuing, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like this airwalk is pretty precise to get the right lineup for it.
Yeah.
But conveniently, there's a lot of buildings that push you in the right direction, so you just need a good angle. As long as you have a decent-ish angle, you should be alright. It's not super specific.
Yeah, but as you can imagine, it like any small variance in your angle will get magnified over like the course of a 2-minute run. So if you're out of the range of being either left or right, then that can be an issue. But it looks.
I thought I was stuck then. Alright, so now we just wait for this to get past this wall. Well, basically what we're going to try and do is we're going to end up inside of a building when it loads. This angle seems terrible. I should have just restarted the checkpoint, done it again.
I'd say it's okay.
I'm going to wait like an extra second before I pause. That took forever to load. This is not going to work. If this works, this is a miracle. We shall see. Oh, it did. Nice. Just about. I was stuck halfway in the wall.
Just had to believe. So coming up now, Matt's going to be doing another airwalk. So we still haven't got a checkpoint yet. So if this goes wrong, then that's not good. But
yeah.
Matt's a pro, so we should be fine.
You say that now.
No, we're fine. We're fine.
Yeah, one detail about that last airwalk that you might have missed is that he didn't do any kind of weapon swapping to trigger it.
Swooping.
If you knock yourself out of an airwalk and then don't do anything with your weapons, you can trigger another airwalk just by hitting the journal button again.
Yeah. It's very weird how that works, but it does. So also I messed up that journal extend there to get over there.
That's our way down.
It's kind of random. Sometimes you'll just die. Sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll grab the ledge. Sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll die from the fall. Sometimes you won't. But if you fail it, it's probably just better to take the normal way around again, because it's slower to take the journal. The only reason we do that is because if you do the way I did that and don't restart a checkpoint, the casual way is blocked. You have to at least try it, and then if you don't get it, you can just go the casual way, because after you restart it, brings it back. Now we're getting on to chapter 7, where things are going to get interesting, even though it's already pretty interesting, but it's going to get more interesting.
So yeah, that was definitely one of the biggest skips in the game. We were going straight from the start of chapter 5 all the way now into chapter 7.
What's next?
Yeah. Hang on a minute. So he didn't die, and the other guy didn't.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The enemies don't have a lot of health in this game, so I'm very surprised that guy didn't die then. Where is he? Where's he off?
Also, you notice Matt picked up the Uzi there. That will be useful for some fights to come, because it's very good in running gun combat.
Yeah.
Great.
So I'm going to do a zipped airwalk to get across this river.
There's a ladder.
Also, Jeff's like, how are we going to get across? Well, I just showed you, mate. Fly. Don't worry about it. That is intended mechanics. So I'm going to try and pick up an extra grenade here to do a little trick in the next chapter. It's not necessary, it doesn't save much time, but you need this extra grenade if you want to do it. We have to do this fight. We can't skip that, because if we do, there's a death barrier up here that will just...
Like this with him?
Well, I say kill you, it doesn't kill you, it kills your companions, because that's how they stop you from skipping things they don't want you to skip.
Resistance fighters.
So we're going to jump across to this, saves a little bit of time. roll down here, restart checkpoint. Then we're going to do another zip to get into this cutscene early. That was bad. There we go. We can just fly into this cutscene. It saves a little bit of time. So French, do you want to explain like full stagger airwalks where you like stagger like straight in like one direction? Like how they work?
I don't know how they work, but I can try and explain them. If you,
I don't think anyone knows how anything works in this game. It just does. So.
yeah, if you stand perpendicular to an edge and step over it slightly, he does a stagger animation to kind of lose and catch his balance. And if you do a journal launch when you're in the middle of that animation, he'll go downwards. But if you stagger and then let him fully recover, come to a complete standstill, he will go upwards. So it is quite weird. If you do it diagonally, just run diagonally off a ledge, do a journal launch, go upwards.
Yeah. There's so many different variations of ways you can do stuff with a journal. Like you can do ways to make you go down, make you go up. You can even zip around stuff and make yourself go backwards. You can end up moonwalking in some cases. It's really strange. But there's a lot of things you can do. Not everything is useful. There's a lot of glitches in this game. This game is very broken. If you've seen a speedrun for Uncharted 1, you will know that game's quite broken in terms of what you can do. But this game, out of all the Uncharted games, is probably overall the most broken in terms of how many different glitches and things you can do.
Pretty creepy, but
There's a lot. And a lot of it goes into the speedrun. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't, but a lot of things are used here and there. So we're kind of just watching out this cutscene. When this scene plays out, I'm going to checkpoint restart, which will warp us down to the bottom. I believe it also puts Chloe in position 2. I think it's only just to warp us down. I don't think it does anything to Chloe. Just saves us having to climb down. But next up, we've got the big, massive puzzle room, and we're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff in there as well.
God, I'm not claustrophobic.
And also, one thing I should point out, and I know that these two guys can agree with me as well. This speedrun is very hard. It is extremely hard to do well. There's all the airwalks require different precisions on the analog stick, like how much you hold the stick in what direction, how much you time like each press between like switching weapons, pressing journal. Everything goes into account for it. Every single airwalk, and every single airwalk or zip, buck launch, they're all different. And there's different timings for different ones. So it's a very hard speedrun to learn. But I will say, because I've been running this game for nearly 7 years, and I didn't really learn it. I just kind of evolved with the game as it kind of progressed. But it is a very rewarding game to run if you put the time and effort into learning it. It's very good. So I'm going to do an upwards airwalk here, and we're going to skip the first arm in this room by getting onto this up here. Oh, I'm on the good part. Nice. I'm just going to roll off here and drop down, and we're going to land on an eyebrow, which is going to trigger this scene. And then we can restart checkpoint after this. I say you don't need to. You do need to restart checkpoint. You can carry on. It's not like you soft lock, but you do soft lock. What I'm trying to say is you can carry on playing, but if you don't restart checkpoint, you can't progress. You have to restart there. So, well, since the next skip coming up is yours, do you want to explain it? Because it's very good and I really like it. I approve.
Sure. So coming up, Matt will be doing another upwards airwalk. There was another way of doing this that not many runners used to do, because it used to be very annoying and kind of inconsistent, but it's mostly because of how precise you have to be. The way they used to do it was to do a rising airwalk by going not at full speed. So if you do an airwalk off the ledge and you're not going at full speed, then you will try Nate will start rising. So like I'm going upwards just by himself. But this is something I found as an alternative, where you can just do a book launch here, combined with an airwalk, for an upwards airwalk, and that will get you right into the trigger to activate that dagger. So that's
it's very good.
Having to climb up.
The other way to do that Ward had mentioned was quite difficult, required really precise movement and stuff. It was very annoying, but that way is really easy, and it apparently saves like 4 seconds, which is very good as well. Oh, and it fell off then. Would have been good.
Yeah, this game can surprise you sometimes with the platforming. I say sometimes, it's most of the time really. Even if you're playing casually, there's a lot of platforming that can just go wrong that isn't your fault.
Yeah, it's not as bad as Uncharted 1 though, so it's fine. Or Uncharted 3, they're both terrible.
And that's one of the reasons that we blind fire to keep our movement speed up instead of jumping. Jumping is almost as fast, but he tends to jump onto different walls and ledges and stuff just where you don't want him to go.
Yeah. French, do you want to explain the cover clipping?
Yep, Matt's going to take cover. He's going to, yep, down here, take cover. Aim. He's going to move his stick so that Elena moves just slightly, and press circle to come out of cover, let go of aim, and it clips him over any kind of low cover that you can take cover on.
Yeah, we use that a couple of times in the run as well. To be fair, there is quite a lot of tricks in this game that we only really use like once or twice, and then that's it. But there's a lot of variations of things you can do. But now we've just got the next bit of gameplay for the next couple of minutes is just playing. I'm just going to run through this section and shoot some people. There's not really much to explain, so if you want to read some donations, it'll be a good time.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. I'd also like to make the announcement that we have crossed $1.9 million in total donations for Awesome Games Done Quick 2022. Thank you, everyone. We are officially on the road to 2 million right now, everybody, especially with donations like these. We have ourselves $25 from Troopa Koopa. They say, stash my donation in El Gosh Darn Dorado. Thank you very much for that. We've also got ourselves $10 from Failed Uplink, saying donating for a chance at those Sailor Moon earrings and for the difficulty upgrade. Thank you so much. We are currently sitting at 1,085 out of 1,500. Now, come on, chat. Let's get those donations towards that incentive. Let's get that buttoned in, and let's keep on moving to 2 million.
So right here, I need to get a pistol off this guy. Very important we do that. The pistol in this game is basically a sniper. You don't need a sniper when you've got a pistol. It's super accurate. It does a lot of damage. And for this next fight coming up, we're going to be shooting at quite a long range, and then a fight later, we're going to be shooting at long range as well, and quite useful for that. So there's going to be a bunch of enemies in this courtyard. We need to kill them all. So there's 3 on this side, 1, 2, 3, and then kill this guy in the window. He's not dead. Go up here in this window, and then there's 2 more left over here. 1 and then 2, and then we just climb up here and trigger the cutscene. Yeah, now Jeff's been shot. Big sad for Jeff. He's really disappointed they didn't win the donation incentive, so now he's just really sad that he's dying.
Elena, barricade the door.
When he could have been living as well. Yeah, there's not really much to say here. There is one little like speed tech that we can do, and that's Jeff has like this stagger animation. His animation is literally on a loop. And after a couple of seconds he'll like stagger and like, excuse me, I got stuck on that guy. He'll stagger and he won't be able to move. But if we quickly aim our gun, we can reset that animation back to the start, so he'll never stagger. So if you see me like quickly zooming in like this, it's because I'm just quickly tapping aim to reset the animation. And we just got kind of wait. I restarted checkpoint there just before to bring Elena forward because she
They can get stuck
the
sometimes.
actual Elena, not me. What?
They can get stuck sometimes if you don't restart.
Yeah. Also, Elena is like the trigger to open that door. So you want it to be as far ahead as possible. For the longest time, we would just stand there at that door, and I thought to myself, there must be a checkpoint here that we can just restart. And lo and behold, there was. So now we just kind of go up here. So he's beckoning us. You can get ahead of her, but it just doesn't work sometimes. And now Jeff's dead. Very sad.
What?
He got Jeff
No,
is
I'm
dead.
sure he's fine.
No.
They wouldn't kill him off.
Oh yeah, Jeff is the main protagonist protagonist
of the
actually.
series.
Well, it would have been if the donation skin won, then we would have memed about it, but we can't now. So if you roll here, you can actually skip a slow motion like cutscene thing where you jump off. Thankfully, if you just roll off, it never does that, so that's good.
Up this way. Elena, come on.
And now we're gonna Elena's gonna catch Elena and save her. Also, we did notice my Elena, the Elena I'm playing as, is very tall, a lot taller than the normal one, and that's because it's obviously the same height as the actual Nathan Drake, so they just made her taller.
Where's the water tower?
So I need to stealth kill this big guy here with the armor on, because he's gonna drop me a shotgun, but he's also gonna drop me a grenade. I need that grenade, very important. I also need a pistol, so I'm gonna kill that guy to grab his pistol. And I'm gonna come over here,
All clear.
and I'm just gonna do another upwards airwalk. Okay. I wasn't actually on the point where I could stab her, so I didn't work. Right. I'm gonna do an upwards airwalk. Why is she going forward? Okay. Hang on. Very strange occurrences are happening. Right, so upwards airwalk up here. If you're gonna go, sometimes you can go through that doorway, so you want to make sure that you are going through it before you throw the grenade, because it's happened to me plenty of times where I've thrown the grenade on the left side and gone through the doorway and it hasn't blown me up. So now we're in chapter 12. We're already in chapter 12, but I class this as chapter 12. Restart there to bring us down here. French, do you want to explain the fight
Yep. So we've got
coming up, because it's a very complex fight.
Yep. So we're gonna be stuck in an overturned train car, and we're gonna be surrounded by waves of enemies. And we found that you don't have to kill everybody out there, just specific enemies, such as the guys with shotguns, the guys in orange hats, and the snipers that spawn.
Maybe I could get this over.
So I remember, basically, I would do this section in runs and I'd lose sometimes upwards to a minute because I just didn't understand how this fight worked. Because there's so many enemies, you'd think, okay, you've got to kill them all, but you don't. There's only a certain couple of enemies you actually have to kill. So like French said right here, as soon as I gain control, I'm going to look to my right. It's going to be a shotgun guy. So we kill him, then kill the two guys with the orange hats. They're dead. Then that will spawn this wave. We kill these three enemies over here. That will spawn the next wave. Kill this sniper guy up there. Okay, I got stuck. Kill this shotgun guy here. One more guy with the orange hat. There. That will spawn this wave. And we just kill all these. Kill that last guy. And now I'm going to come over here. I'm just going to come and stand behind this crate. I'm going to wait. Because Elena's going to come in a little car. She's going to come pick us up. So I'm just going to stand here and wait for her. And hopefully not die. Sometimes enemies can come out of nowhere and annoy you. We're just going to kind of just wait here for the driver to run over us. And then now we're in the train. So, Wild, do you want to explain this beautiful chapter?
Yes, absolutely. So chapters 13 and 14 are both set in this train. And we're going to do train skip right now, or at least Matt's going to do it. So the way this skip works is it really exploits the level design in this first area. So at the moment we were on the train, but this train is set to go on a loop. So one massive loop that takes around four-ish minutes to complete. So you can take low cover, and if you shimmy across, you can inch yourself off the cover. So Matt just clipped off of the train. So he's just levitating over the train tracks right now. If he press the aim button, you can see like where he's at. But we're just going to keep it on the train for now. And I'll explain why in a bit as well. So yeah, you can see that the camera's fixed to the train itself. This train is going to come back and meet up with us again in about 3 or so minutes. And at that point, we're going to hit a trigger, and that will activate the end of chapter 14. And we're in chapter 13 at the moment. So this skip will skip the whole of chapters 13 and 14 and take us straight into chapter 15. The reason why we're just sticking around here, even though the camera is like kind of freaking out.
Yeah, if you suffer with motion sickness, I would look away because this camera's going to get pretty wild.
Yeah, I would mention that. Yeah. So there's two outcomes that can happen once we meet up back with the train. Either we can get a fast checkpoint, which only takes like a few seconds to load in, or we could get a slower checkpoint where it takes a bit longer. And usually, if you clip out of the train within about 35 to 40 seconds, then you'll get the fast cutscene.
Yeah. There is one thing. Oh yeah. So this takes about 4.5 minutes ish for it to go on loop. I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. It takes about 4.5 minutes to go on a loop. The chapters on their own usually take about maybe 6.5 minutes ish. So this skip only saves about 2 minutes, but it's still 2 minutes. So we sit here for 4.5 minutes doing nothing to save 2 minutes. It's great. So I'm just going to sit here for another 2 minutes if you want to read some donations.
I do appreciate it. Yeah, let me just minimize my feed for a second because that's getting pretty wild. We do have a rather appropriate donation, $100 from Mershawn. Says, shout out to the train with the screaming Drake inside. Thank you for that. For this run, it's Elena, and she's kind of stuck in geometry, but we get the point. Thank you very much. So I want to shout out Anonymous, who has some really deep pockets this event. We have an anonymous $500 donation. It says, happy to donate for such a great cause. Love GDQ and all the games played and all the work you do throughout every year. Thank you so much. We also have $1,000 from an anonymous donation. It says simply less than 3. Thank you so much. We have an anonymous donation, $1,000, saying thanks to all the runners and event staff for the amazing event supporting such an important foundation. Greetings from Oz. May not be so anonymous after all. We also have an anonymous donation with, again, $1,000, saying no comment with a colon and a parenthesis. It's a smiley face. We have an anonymous donation, $25. It says great event as always. We have an anonymous donation of $500. No comment, but thank you so much for your generosity. And we also have a $25 anonymous donation. It says, last year my father got diagnosed with brain cancer. Early detection has brought him some more time with us, but the clock is ticking. Take my donation this year because it is personal. Thank you for sharing your story, and I hope it gets better. And we also have an anonymous $50 donation saying, I look forward so much to AGDQ every year. This whole week feels like a holiday. Thank you so much for all you do. And I do want to thank all you anonymouses out there. Anonymous I? Anonymouses. And also, we have ourselves $25 from MBH saying, Usagi would never run from a real fight. She is the one called Sailor Moon after all. Okay, maybe she'd cry a little, but she'd tough it on the end, putting my donation to upgrade that Sailor Moon R run to hard mode. And indeed, the needle is moving on that $1,135 out of $15,000. Chat, with a little bit of effort, I know y'all can rally together and get that met in no time flat. Let's get that buttoned up. Back to you, Matt.
Yeah, so we did train skip. Basically, when it goes on a loop, it'll trigger a cutscene, you skip it, and that's it. You in the next chapter, chapter 15, which is technically chapter 1. So you must be wondering why I reset. Well, I wasn't very happy with the run, so I just decided to start again. It's fine. I'm sure we've got time for that. But no. So yeah, basically, it makes you do the worst chapter in the game again, kinda. It does let you skip a little bit of stuff, like when I jump in the train here. It's gonna basically just walk me to the top without me having to climb through, because they must have felt some sympathy for you doing this again, so they just take you to the top. But yeah, there's not really much to explain in this chapter. We're just gonna do a fight. We can't do the skip. Bigger thing to remember, do not do the skip at the top of the train in this chapter, because if you do, bad things will happen, and by bad things I mean you won't be able to progress. So don't do that. I have actually lost time to it because I get into like muscle memory and just forget what chapter I'm on, because I'm so used to doing chapter 1 that I just do the skip.
That's not a good sign.
It's not fun. So yeah, we have to actually go through the train the normal way this time, but the camera is flipped. Usually in chapter 1 the camera would be facing from behind Nate, but instead now we're looking towards Nate. I keep saying Nate, but I mean, oh, I'm gonna die. Stuck on the door. It's fine.
That can happen sometimes.
It is. It is fine. Yeah, I was trying to mash the jump bit too quick, and I lost control of my character, and I just jumped into the side. It's fine. Yeah, so we're gonna do a fight in this next chapter. It's a pretty good fight, actually. It's pretty optimized. You can do it pretty fast. And then we've got the best chapter, which is chapter 16, obviously. And then we've got the worst chapter. And I'm sure French would love to explain that when we get close to it. I'll just let you go ham on that chapter when we get to chapter 16, and you can just explain it then.
Yeah, French will have some choice words for chapter 17.
I'm assuming he will also have. I think we'll all have some choice words with a specific individual who's in this voice chat, but also not talking. That's probably why he's done it. He's done it on purpose to keep away from us, so we won't bully him for it. That's why. Actually, gonna kill these enemies. I had to backtrack there because I didn't pick up the M4, even though I was mashing the button. I just didn't pick it up for some reason. It doesn't really matter how fast you kill those three, because this next part is still on a timer, so we just kind of kill them as fast as we can. Then we're going to throw a grenade here to blow up this, which will hopefully kill the enemies for us, so we don't have to do that. And we're going to get 3 brute guy spawns. We're just going to kill them as fast as possible. Okay, they both died like really instantly. So now I'm going to get the stagger. Yeah. You want to time killing them so you don't have to. Can you please climb? What is going on? This is what happens if you kill them too quickly. You actually want to time killing them. Yeah, friends, if you want to go ham on 17, now's the time.
I will if you pet a yak.
Okay, I'll pet a yak.
Alright, thank you.
Is anyone there?
They need love too.
I got it. Follow you.
Alright, so at the start of chapter 17, our silent commentator Hutchtee found that there's an area of the wall where you walk into it and it just starts to slide your character back and forth,
What?
suggestive manner. And eventually it was found that if you do it in a certain way, it will launch you across the map,
Kick the ball.
and you can hit a checkpoint that skips a lot of chapter 17, about 5 minutes of painful platforming in an icy cave.
Yeah, and it is the worst skip in the entire game. It is the hardest skip in the entire game, and it is also the most random skip in the entire game. So I'm going to attempt to do it. I'm not going to try it for too long because it is, like I said, completely random. I'll give it a little go. I want to try and at least get the launch. That would be nice. Yeah, this is the dodgy wall. I'm going to try and position ourselves, and I'm going to rub into it, and hopefully... Okay, that was not the way I wanted to go. We want to launch the other way. I'd like to at least show off the launch, but whenever I do this in a marathon, it just doesn't cooperate. Like, the skip is like... If anyone's ever done this in their PB, they've just killed UC2 for themselves. Isn't that right, Wild?
Yeah, sad times.
Yeah.
So yeah, in my first like sub 120 run, I just went for this as a meme. When I was like a minute behind my PB, and then I got it, and then I freaked out, and then I choked a lot of time later, and then yeah. So here we are, where I have a bad run, but it's a PB.
No, it's history.
Yeah, and now I have to do this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna... I just wanted to try and get the launch, but basically you'd rub against that until you get yeeted off into the distance, and you try and hope that the stars align and you end up at the right height, at the right angle, and you pause at the right spot, and you'll basically be in the area you want to be at. So it's random to get the launch, and then it's random how high you are, it's random where you go, and it's random... It's not random where you pause, but depending how fast you're going, it can also be random where you pause as well. So everything about that skip is random. And I believe only the top 3 runs on the leaderboard do it. So myself, Wild, and Erims are the only people that do that.
Actually, Mac has
got
one
it
with
in their
as well.
PB. Oh yeah, Panzer. Yeah. Because he's an idiot as well.
Do you know why you didn't get the skip, by the way? Do you know why you didn't get it? It's because you forgot to pet a yak.
Oh yeah, I forgot to pet the yak. I was so intrigued with listening to French talk that I just forgot to. It's
It would have
fine.
messed the run.
Means you have to do a beast mode run after this.
Yeah, so
I'll do it just for you, French.
we also have a category extensions page for the Uncharted series, and one of the most popular categories is Beast Mode, where you go through the whole village, and there are 4 yaks that you can pet, and you pet all of them in sequence.
This can't be what Schaefer meant.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why it exists, but it does. French
It's the
loves
best
it.
category, hands down.
That way, sure. Those things bite,
Sure,
you know.
whatever you say. Yeah, so this is why we like skipping this level, because it is kind of boring, even though the skip that does skip it is very, very difficult to do. But there is a little couple tricks we can do during this chapter as well. But a lot of this is just casual gaming. We're just kind of waiting for Tenzin to do his thing. So right, we want to wait till he jumps off, because if you don't, sometimes you can actually die if you try and jump over that too quick.
Hey, what's the big hurry?
Do any of you know how to do the ladder skip here, or do you want me to explain it?
These
go
are
ahead.
Snow boots, not
Yeah, go
track
for it.
shoes.
Okay. So after this little cutscene here, there's going to be a ladder that basically you would try to boost Tenzin up, and then he'd be like, no, you go up, and then it basically switches and then he boosts you up. But that cutscene takes about 15, 20 seconds-ish, but we can skip it. The triangle prompts in this game are kind of broken when it comes to boosting up, and we can use it to clip ourselves a little bit into the wall, and that gives us a little bit of extra height, and we can actually grab the ladder. I'm going to try and do that now. Nearly. Okay, I don't know why that's not working. I tried a couple more times and I was doing the normal way. I have no idea why that's not grabbing. There we go. I was pressing jump too early. Okay, so you do that, you get up there, that skips having to get Tenzin to get you up there. But I also believe, can you jump off? I also believe that doesn't give you the checkpoint. Oh no, it does give you the checkpoint, never mind. The checkpoint's just there when you climb up, so it's fine. So which one of you wants to explain this fantastic rope coming up that everyone loves?
Sure, I'll go for it.
I don't have problems with it, so I'll let Wild do it.
What was that?
So yeah,
Oh, I hit the checkpoint anyway.
what just happened there was UC2 being UC2. But yeah, this rope. So the way this rope is designed is that it's not very well designed. In that if you were to play this game casually and you were to jump to the rope, which is what you would expect to have to do, then you would end up too high on the rope, and you wouldn't be able to get enough momentum to jump across if you jump across at the time that you'd expect to jump across. So we have to like perform the rope a bit differently. So Matt will walk off of the edge instead of jumping, and you also have to jump a little bit early, otherwise you don't get far enough to hit this little in-game cinematic. And it's very, very annoying.
If you've played this game casually, a lot of people had nightmares with that rope, because you'd think you just have to jump at it and jump across like as late as you can, but it's like everything's the complete opposite. It just works the complete opposite way you would think a rope would work. It's very strange.
What the hell was that? Holy shit.
So if you want to read some donations, there's a bit of time to kill here. Not really much going on.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Do appreciate it. We have $10 generously donated by Twan. They say, I am so happy for Mattmatt and the entire Uncharted community. The folks in the UC community put in a lot of hard work, and their dedication, friendliness, and support has improved my life immensely over the last few years. Here's to hoping UC2 is nice to you, Mattmatt, and thank you for all your contributions to speedrunning. Well, thank you, Twan.
Thank you, Twan.
See, we also have a $100 donation from Salvian, saying, one of my favorite games of all time, and wow, is it broken. Thank you so much, Matt.
There's a skip here
Stay here.
where it's probably, if you watch this and I didn't tell you, okay, this is a skip, you wouldn't think it was a skip. But in this area, you meant to like fight off the yay, but we can just roll up this rock and climb it. Well, I'd like to climb it if it would let me. This can be kind of awkward sometimes. Yeah, we can climb up it, and that just skips like 2 minutes of doing stuff with the yay, and it's just that easy. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if someone did that in their casual playthrough without even realizing it was a skip. It's just that easy to do. You can actually skip a little bit of climbing here by aiming against this wall, and that allows us to set ourselves up to climb up that ladder early as well. And then we're going to do a journal extend here to get around this wall. Hopefully, without bonking my head.
No, that's fine.
Okay, good. Then we're going to restart checkpoint as soon as the current time goes to 0. Right, so now chapter 18. This chapter is very cool. So, Wald, if you want to explain this, what we're going to do.
Yeah, sure. So there's a lot of ways that we've found over the years to skip to the end of the chapter, or at least like close to the end of the chapter. The way Matt's doing currently is both the fastest and most recent way of doing chapter 18 skip. So essentially we're going on Tenzin side of the area here. We're not meant to be in this side of the whole area entirely. So as you can see, everything's a bit freaky. Because we're out of bounds. So we're going to do a series of book launches and journal extends. And for this journal extend in particular, you have to lose some height, otherwise you're too high and then you won't end up where you're meant to be, where you can die from full damage. Essentially, yeah, once you hit that trigger, you can restart checkpoint and you're like most of the way through the chapter.
The old route for that, or the old fastest route for that, was like one of the worst things in existence. Like I'd be close to say it's near enough as bad as 17 skip was. You basically had to do like a frame perfect like roll input, and it was just not fun, especially on a game where it's 60 FPS. It ain't happening. Yeah, so now we're gonna skip the best part of the game where Tenzin's like saying Don Chalet because it is faster. But this sequence of tricks we're doing is actually quite difficult to do. So we're going to jump down here. We hit a checkpoint on the edge of that ledge there. And now we're basically all we need at the end of chapter 18. And then you guessed it, we're just going to do one more skip to skip the rest of it into the final little cutscene thing. So we're going to do a full staggered air walk to the top of this roof. And the trigger that would usually be on this is actually there from the top, so we can just hit it and skip all that. So more donations would be good right about now. Just gotta wait for this to play out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Got Marish coming in with a $50 donation. Let's see, Matt's my favorite runner from Antarctica, and it's always great to see Uncharted being run. Thank you very much. You're from Antarctica? Really? It's neat.
Sure, if you believe I am, then that's up to you.
Let's see, we also got $25 from Pikachu fan saying, so impressed by the accuracy in this Uncharted run. Let's get that Sailor Moon incentive. Let's go ahead and do a quick check on that. $1,290 out of $15,000. Almost 10% of the way there. Y'all are doing great, chat. Keep it up and make sure when you donate, you push for that $2 million. Get your money in for that difficulty upgrade incentive for Sailor Moon. Thank you very much.
So in this chapter we can't do any journal stuff, but that doesn't stop us from doing some things. But first we have to do this part a little bit casually. We kill that brute guy there and then restart, because for whatever reason he is tied to the checkpoint. If we just kill him and restart, it despawns all the enemies, and we have to kill them all or Tenzin will die. So it's very convenient that he just triggers the checkpoint. French, do you want to explain the skip coming up?
Yep. After we finish killing all these enemies, Matt's gonna walk up to a wall and use the same or similar trick to clip out of bounds as we used in chapter 2. And this will allow us to get into the next area early. He's gotta be careful where he jumps, otherwise the area doesn't load in correctly. But it skips going up a couple of flights of ladder and then a big fight below with some guys with grenade launchers that are not fun.
Yeah. Too close to line myself up. Do an extended jump. Turn the camera. Okay, I did too. That's fine. Can I drop, please? I can't. Why can't it let me hang? It wouldn't let me hang. I don't know why. There is a backup to that if you land on that side of the wall, but it just wouldn't let me hang off. It's fine. I'll do it again. I know why that didn't work. I turned the camera slightly. No, I didn't actually jump far enough. Oh, why? Okay. This is fine. This skip's actually really easy. I'm just making it look hard apparently.
Yeah.
Do it again. Try and jump a bit later this time. There we go. That's what we wanted to do the first time. I just either jumped too early or didn't turn the camera late enough. So I'm going to take cover here, and I'm going to do a backwards cover clip to get inside of this. Take cover on this to clip out the floor. And we can climb up here and skip to the end of that chapter. All that does is really skip the fight. Me messing that up as many times as I did made it not save time anymore, but that's fine. It wasn't a big time save, but it's still a skip, and it's cool to show off. So.
Well, it also has the added benefit of moving Tenzin to this door early.
Oh yeah.
So we don't have to wait for him.
To this door. He's very good. I'm gonna roll here to grab this Uzi. Also, we didn't even mention, completely forgot, but in this game, you can cancel your rolls by either aiming or using the inspect button when you hit the floor, and it will cancel you from rolling, and that saves quite a decent amount of time to add this entire run. So pretty much, yeah, if you speed on this game, you always want to be trying to aim when you hit the ground after a jump, because it's going to save you some time.
As another piece of movement tech, when you're going upstairs, you want to be rolling, and when you're going downstairs, you want to jump down them as well.
Yeah. Never want to blind fire in the stairs. In UC1, it's faster to blind fire up and down. No, not downstairs, but it's faster to blind fire upstairs, but not in this game. And I believe in UC3, it's faster to just run up them, right? Excuse me. Oh! That was close. I'm going to wait a second here because this guy can kill me. My health was quite low. There's a lot of weird stuff happening now. I don't like it. I'm scared. Things are happening.
You're fine, you're fine. What you're saying about UC3, I think you can either blind fire or just go up normally, and it's the same as it did.
See, why did that just let go of that? Press and triangle. So here, you don't want to be too quick. You want to wait here a second before you climb over this to jump over, because if you are too fast and you end up jumping near where Tenzin is, you can actually just fall and die. And I've lost a run to that a couple of years ago, and I was not very happy. Not happy at all, actually. In fact, I was very angry. and I've tried to avoid it ever since.
Yeah, it's been immortalized as a quick new time.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. What is going on? Everyone seems to want to punch me.
Yeah, the thing about combat encounters is that once you get punched, that also does like a bunch of damage to you, which you wouldn't expect, because why would melee damage do more damage than being shot by a gun? And also it slows you down significantly, so it's not ideal at all.
Yeah. Right, so the tank, what if you want to explain the tank?
Sure. So the intended way of getting through this next part is to go through a series of buildings and progressively damage the tank with using the RPGs that are scattered around. We're just going to avoid that completely because it's slow. And you're seeing Matt go through this area like towards the right of the buildings. If we take the specific route and then go to the end building in this area, then there's a bunch of RPGs in that building, and we can just use the RPGs there, and this avoids like a bunch of checkpoints and a bunch of like platforming that we'd otherwise have to do. So it's significantly faster. If you do die while getting to this building, then that's kind of bad because it's very difficult to recover from that, but Matt made it look easy because he's a pro.
That's not true. Wow, that's not true. I'm average pro. Okay, so this is an auto-scroller. Not really much to say. We're just going to shoot some people, do some jumping, so this is a perfect time for a couple of donations.
Sounds good. You have $25 graciously donated to the PCF by Egg Love. Said, wanted to donate to one of my favorite games of all time, which is also speed ran by one of the best communities that I've ever been a part of. Been trying to learn the Uncharted 2 speedrun myself by watching Matt's tutorial on it, which is very informative and a great place to start if anyone is interested in this game. Good luck, Matt. Thank you for showing this game off to the world, and everyone, remember to pour one out for Jeff, the god of the Uncharted series, and also our Lord and Savior. Also got a...
You can be
Oh,
small.
thank you. You got $1,000 from Madeline and Sean. They say big Naughty Dog fans, but even bigger fans of preventing cancer. Love watching AGDQ and thrilled to be supporting our favorite gamers. Thank you so much for that outpour of generosity. Thank you. And also, we have ourselves $10 from Neko Ninja. They're saying the name of the moon, let's punish cancer. Yes, indeed. $12.90 out of 15,000. That is schmoving right along. Thank you so much for all the donations going towards it. But let's keep them coming, everybody.
So we're just gonna blow up some cars now. You did see me checkpoint restart then. That's the only time save in this chapter is just a restart there when you get on that truck. It just skips the in-game cutscene of knocking the gunner off. I think it saves a second, if that. It's not a lot. So, but then again, in a chapter where you don't really have much time to save, that's a lot. But next chapter is probably the hardest chapter in the game in terms of like doing a bunch of stuff in a row. Because if you fail it, any of the stuff, you have to do it all over again. And I'm pretty sure, isn't that where you lost a bunch of your time in your PV1? Was it chapter 23? Or was it this chapter? I can't remember.
It was this chapter, but we don't talk about that.
I just wanted to bring it up.
It was also chapter 18. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah. I was really sad when I watched that run. I saw how far you were ahead, and then it just.
It's okay. We'll get a better run.
Hopefully. Yeah. Right. So. I'll do a tiny skip here. To skip this little shimmy ledge because you're meant to like shimmy across, but I'm gonna just jump across. It does require a little bit of a precise angle. It's not too difficult though. I'm just gonna climb up, gonna turn a bit, and I'm just gonna run off and jump. I can get over to this side, and if I get up here before they even notice I'm here, they're so oblivious. I'm just gonna kick that guy in the face, not fall off that ledge. Hello. What's the game doing to me? So we're gonna do a fight here. In this next part. If you want to explain this fight French, because there's a lot going on.
Yeah, well, we left some of the guys alive behind us to keep our combat speed. Up ahead, basically we just go through, kill quite a few guys, and we want to make sure that we grab enough grenades to get through the next series of airwalks.
Yeah. You don't have to kill them all, just a couple. But if you do end up not killing enough and then try and go, you will die because there is a death barrier that's like right here when we jump across. If you don't kill enough, it's going to kill you. Let's kill these 3 guys here, and I'm going to reload, and I'm going to shoot this guy in the head. Try and kill him. We kill these 2. We need to pick up a grenade from one of them. Very important. And there's going to be 4 more guys down here, so 2 there, 2 here. Kill them first before we grab this extra grenade. Oh, it gave me 2. Look at that, I got the glitch.
Nice.
Sometimes if you pick up a grenade in this game, it can give you more than what it should. So there I picked up 1, but it gave me 2. Don't understand how that works either, but it's not actually useful. We don't need it, so it's just kind of a neat thing if you do get it.
Actually,
so this guy, there's one last enemy that's hiding. There he is. Is he dead yet? Dead now. Go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, at the start of chapter 8, that glitch is actually useful to get an extra grenade for doing the upwards airwalk. If you have 0 at that point, otherwise you'd only get 3 from the stack of grenades at the start.
Oh yeah, true.
And also, there's like another little piece of speed tech. If you're shooting an enemy and you're starting the reload animation, halfway through the animation, you can switch to your other gun and then back to the gun that you were using initially, and that will cancel the reload animation. And you can do that either with triangle if you're aimed in, or you can do that with switching manually on the D-pad.
So we're going to do an upward zip here to get up here. I'm going to try and throw my grenade here and hopefully it doesn't screw me over. This grenade can like land in, yeah, that's not going to blow me up, yeah. Depending where you zip to when you do this, that grenade can just do whatever it wants. I should just take the airwalk.
It's fast
I'll try
to
it again.
take the airwalk, yeah. But yeah, it's good to show this anyway.
Yeah, I'll just do it again. I don't know why, but like with this setup now, I can't blow myself up. I don't know why. It's really strange. Because it's the way the camera's like bouncing around. Like that's fine. Like the camera's steady. That's what I want. But when the camera's spazzing out like it was, even if I throw it in the spot I want, the camera can just start spazzing out and it'll just chuck the grenade wherever it wants. And it's just unfortunate that I got that. I think it's to do with like how much you push on the stick when you do the zip. So yeah, we're gonna do another zip across this gap.
Yeah, zips are very sensitive to the direction you're holding the stick. It's what makes them like kind of variable when all the other pieces of speed tech are quite consistent. Once you understand how to do them, you shouldn't really get any problems with the other skips. But zips can always be a bit finicky at times.
So we zip into this area. Depending like how tight your zip was will depend like how slow you move here, but it's alright. And we blow ourselves up to get out of that airwalk. So if I fail this airwalk here, I'm gonna have to do all that over again, which is why we call this like chapter just annoying, because if you mess up any of these, you have to do it again.
It is very unforgiving, yes.
Yeah, no checkpoints at all in between. Gonna do one last normal airwalk this way to hit a checkpoint down here. So we need to get to that little room over there. I'm gonna face the camera away because it loads the area a bit faster. So when the screen goes orange, I'm gonna pause.
And we'll see if you get to keep your grenades or not.
Yeah, sometimes the game can take them off you. It's really annoying. Don't know why. It just happens. When the area loads in, we unpause, pause again, restart. I still have my grenades, good. Then we want to do an upwards airwalk to get onto this roof. It can be kind of annoying.
Yeah, this one's quite difficult when you're like first learning it. It'd be very, very annoying.
There we go. It's a very, very precise movement on that one. So it's just kind of one of those things where you should just do it and just hope it works, you know. That's a lot of the stuff in this game, to be honest. But that skips a cutscene at the top of there.
And the first half of this fight.
Yeah, one of you guys want to explain this, French?
Yep. We are gonna over here, let this wave spawn and kill one guy, and clip through this wall, and then run across some temporarily invisible roof, and it takes us to an area where we can drop down and start the next fight. Skips fighting the second wave of enemies back there, turning a crank with Elena, and then sliding down the zip line.
Yeah, that saves a lot of time. And, well, not a lot of time, but it skips a bunch of stuff. This part's basically on a timer. We just gotta wait for this last guy to spawn in. So we're just gonna spray him, and then as soon as he spawns, he'll die. And we just
Thanks for the
climb.
rope, boys. Hope there's nothing scary at the top. All right, it's all.
And so that's the hard stuff out of the way in that chapter. Now there's not much left. We've got chapter 24, which is pretty straightforward. There's not really much to say in that chapter as well, and then the final one. So from this point, there's only one more skip left, right? Well, I guess one big one, one tiny one.
Yeah.
Also, if we trigger an airwalk while we're on the stairs, we can just keep this animation, and it looks pretty funny.
There's some doors up here. I need your
We just have
help.
to wait for it in here, so we just mess around and do this. Don't do it in a PB run though, because knowing the game, it'll mess you over and get stuck or something.
Yeah, I've got to start trying to do that in a run.
Secret entrance to
Yeah.
It's not fun.
You do this little tiny puzzle. It's pretty simple. Get this cutscene. Now we're in chapter 24. Well, we were already in chapter 24. My splits are weird. I just count this as 24, not that first one. but it's fine. So
Big man with that
this
gun.
level, there's not really much going on.
I can't believe
We're just kind of with Flynn. He's got a gun basically pointed at our heads. He's escorting us to this next area where we're gonna do a little puzzle, and then we just gotta do some waiting. So, and again, perfect time for some donations. Oh, also quickly before he's gonna knock this down, but I'm just gonna climb up the wall because logic. I don't know why he needed to do that for me, but I can just climb up the wall. It's fine.
Great.
Anyway, yeah, if you've got some donations, it's perfect time to read some.
Awesome. So we have ourselves a $25 donation from We Go Giant in the form of a limerick. Don't worry, it's safe. It says, there once was a man they called Drake. In treasure he'd like to partake. He would wreck his Impala in a search for Shambhala, and now the poor guy needs a break. And it does clarify Nathan Drake probably doesn't actually drive an Impala. It says he just needed a rhyme that worked for the poem. So thank you so much, We Go Giant. We appreciate that. We also have ourselves $50 from Braylon, saying, love seeing UC2 and AGDQ. I wonder how do Drake's clothes dry so quickly after he gets out of the water. Well, we're not going to really know for this run, because you see Elena there, but thank you so much for that donation. We appreciate it.
Now, how did they get that?
And she's also wearing a wetsuit. So
And that never dries out.
No. Help me push this.
you've got plenty of time for some more.
Yeah, phenomenal. We got ourselves $5 from Gizmo, saying, always a pleasure to see Uncharted at GDQ. Shout out to Matt, Wildy, French, and Hutch for their contributions to the Uncharted community. I don't think I would have ever started speedrunning without them. Finish off the run strong. Yeah, thank you very much for those encouraging words. We also have one...
Yeah, the Uncharted. Oh, sorry, Karen.
No, feel free, Matt.
Hope you can make that jump on your own.
I was just going to say that the Uncharted community is one of the best communities I've ever been a part of. It's very friendly. There's loads of nice people. I mean, we do meme around sometimes, but doesn't everyone? But everyone's really nice. And if you come in asking for help for something, there's always someone around to help out. So anyway, continue. Got more time.
Yeah, thank you very much. Got $150 from Amanda, saying Sailor Moon is one of the most precious animes to me of all time. I'm so excited to see one of its many games being played at GDQ. Let's make sure we don't pull a tuxedo mask and actually do something to help before we peace out. Thank you to the runners, staff, and all donors and viewers. And thank you for getting some progress in on that difficulty upgrade for Bishoujo Senshi Sailor Moon R. We're nearly at 10%. Y'all are doing great. And let's keep it up, everybody.
So we're just doing a puzzle here. It's a really straightforward one. It's very easy to remember. So that's pretty much it done. You don't even have to. You only have to turn one cylinder on the side once. Super simple.
Make yourself useful.
And now we've got another section where we're going to be waiting for another minute and doing nothing. Although there is something cool we can do. I'm going to try and see if I can do it. If it works, then good. But it's out of my control if it doesn't. But I'm going to try and get something funny to happen. So in this part, we're going to basically hold out against these big Yeti dudes for about a minute or so. You literally just have to survive. But I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do a backwards cover clip to clip into this. I'm going to hope the Yeti's going to run into me. Please, please. Close enough. If I get him in the right position. Not running. That's sad. Basically, you can like get him to run while your face is in his quash and it looks really funny, but he's just standing there. Oh well. If you want to read like maybe 2 more donations, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, perfect. We got ourselves $250 from Star Performer. They say, I love AGDQ. Let's go 2 million. We are nearly, what is that, $94,000 away. We are proceeding apace in this record milestone. Thank you so much, everybody. And we also have $50 from Sir H, saying simply, GDQ is my favorite holiday. It is a mood. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, the cutscene's going to trigger any second now. There we go. And now we're in chapter 25. So technically there's 26 chapters. I count chapter 25 and 26 basically as the same one, because they kind of like integrate into each other when we do the skip we're going to do. So I'm just going to class it as the last chapter. The end of the game. We're on the final stretch, pretty much. So there's not long left now. we'll do some cool things we're going to do. But while we have time waiting on this little platform here, French, do you want to explain the Japanese version stuff? Which is what I am playing on, if people didn't realize I am playing the Japanese version.
Yeah, Matt's apparently the only one that runs on the Japanese version. The only difference that we found so far is that the Yetis or Guardians in the next fight die in one shot instead of being a little bit of a hassle on the other versions.
Yeah. It saves about 7 seconds or so. But depending how fast you can kill them normally, it saves a pretty good chunk of time, and they can be annoying. So I'll point out which one when I get to it. But first we just got to get there, which is just down here.
It's also worth mentioning that it also makes a difference for Uncharted 1 as well, because there's a chapter in Uncharted 1 where you are guiding a jet ski up a river full of explosive barrels, and in the Japanese version there are fewer barrels that can blow you up, so that's a bit more convenient.
So this guy right here, I'm just going to look at him. I'm going to look at him and just like shoot him once. He should just be dead. The AI like really helps you out here. Oh, he's not actually dead. Well, he's dead now. They didn't help me out. They let me down. I probably should have shot at him, but I tried to be smart. It did work. But you can see how fast he died. On easy, or on Explorer, on like any other version, you'd be sitting there maybe putting like a full clip into him before he'll die. Sometimes more. It's quite annoying. So we're nearly on the final skip of the run. I'm going to clip through this little branch door here. I'm going to take cover on it. I can aim through it and just get through. That skips a little bit of climbing. And now we're on to the final skip. So we're going to skip all of this chapter, and we're going to go straight to the Lazarevich boss fight, the final boss, and then we're pretty much at the end of the game. So hopefully I don't mess that up. We're going to climb up here. I'm just going to do an airwalk over here. Have a look, see if the angle's good. That's perfect. And we're just going to... it's going to look weird. We're technically hitting the cutscene trigger that would actually start the boss fight. But instead of it starting the boss fight, it warps you to the start of chapter 26. Which is still convenient enough because it's right where that would be. Where am I? Let me just quickly look at this. Okay, that's fine. This happened earlier as well. I ended up in the exact same spot. Yeah, so now we're in chapter 26, which is what that skip did. Now we come back here. This is the cutscene trigger we just hit, but it warped us up there instead. Now we're in the final boss, so we're grenade at this tree. Shoot Lazarevich in his head. He's going to say some things because he thinks he's really cool. I'm going to shoot him again. Shoot the sap. That triggers the second phase, and you get the idea. We're going to do this 4 times. We've done it twice so far. The grenade counts as the first phase. You don't actually have to shoot the sap on the first one. We use the grenade for that. And then we're going to do it again. Third one. Now one more. And that's pretty much it. The one more little thing to do after the boss. We're going to run across a collapsing bridge. Shoot again, shoot the sap, he's dead. Now this is the final structure. He's going to run across this bridge, and then that is time. So we get ready on time pretty soon. Run over the side there. If you jump earlier on these things, you can actually get across like pretty fast. And then jump here as well. Again, run over to the side here. It just says jumping and climbing. I'm not sure if it is even faster, but it's what I do. So I get ready on time any second now. We're just gonna jump over this one more gap, restart checkpoint, kill the last enemy, and that'll be timed. So get ready. And time. There we go. There's Uncharted 2.
Good job.
GG, Matt. Well done.
That seems like I'm pretty sure that is my personal best for a marathon. So that is very good. I'm very happy with that. It went okay. But some stuff went wrong, but overall it was a pretty good one.
We gotta get her out of here.
Yeah. Oh, there's Nate. He's back.
Come on, sunshine.
So yeah. Do you guys have anything you want to say?
French, you can go first.
Thanks to everyone who showed up and cheered us on and donated, and everyone from the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, just echoing French. Thank you so much for all the donations and all the support from the community. It's been a really fun experience, and yeah, just thank you everyone.
And yeah, so that's it. The Uncharted community is fantastic, and I mean, when I started speedrunning, I started with Last of Us, but
Oh no.
the main game that I ran was this, and I've been running this for a very long time. And because of this game series, I've met so many amazing people. There's a bunch of amazing people in the community that are still active today, and have been active for years, and probably still will be. And yeah, so speedrunning is great. This game's very hard, but you should give it a go. It's very rewarding if you learn it. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed the run. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Thank you very much, Matt, for that technically impressive run of Uncharted 2. And also your commentary team, French, Wildy, and Hutchtee. That's right, I still saw you there. Very spiritual support from the couch. We do appreciate it. During that run, we received a $1,000 donation from Ellipsis. Their comment reads, I started attending AGDQ in 2015 as a fun way to connect with other speedrunners. I always appreciated that it was a charity event, but back then I didn't think about the work we were doing as much as the fun we were having. 2019, I lost my dad to lung cancer. It was during AGDQ 2019, and I was still in the event hotel when I got the news. That year, the work we were doing became extremely personal, and I was so grateful to have a place to be where I felt like speedrunners like me made a positive difference in people's lives. I had thought that was the end of my personal story about cancer. It wasn't. 3 months ago, I got my own diagnosis. One surgery later, they say I'm cancer-free again, and here we are. Happy AGDQ 2022. The work we do for charity every year, it's never meant more to me. And when we can finally do AGDQ again in person, I'm still going to be there, hopefully even with a run or two. Much and love and thanks to everyone who supported me through my father's cancer and my own. Ellipsis, thank you for sharing that story. And that's quite a ride. And can't wait to give you a handshake and a hug in person once we are finally all back together. All right, coming up, we have Kirby Master with WarioWare. But before that, we have some brief messages. While you're watching those messages, I want you to ponder a bit of a question. With Beatles' donation with $25, they ask a very simple question. They say, Prime Gaming? Yeah, think about it. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to AGDQ 2022 online. The answer to that question I asked before the break, of course, was that all revenue after taxes that GDQ earns from subscriptions and bits for the month of January will be donated to the PCF. So thank you very much for those Prime subs. They will be contributed at the end of the month. We have ourselves a $5 donation from Hop and Pop 101. Very good idea. They say, choo choo, let's go. Believe they want themselves a $5 donation train put towards that difficulty upgrade for Sailor Moon. Not a very bad idea. Thank you so much for getting that train pulling from the station. And now, Jay Hobbs is going to be speaking with Slyfincleton, the runner of Spider-Man 2. Jay Hobbs, if you please.
Thank you, iggyzig, and welcome back, everybody, to the late night chill zone of HDQ 2022 online. My name is Jay Hobbs, and I'm joined by Slyfincleton, as iggyzig mentioned, who's going to be running Spider-Man 2, that's right, the PS2 version, well, on Xbox, in a couple runs here. Sly, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So first things first, what kind of drew you to this game? Because I don't know about everybody watching out there, but I have a ton of nostalgia for this game. I loved it as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, obviously me too. Played the PS2 version. But for me, what brought me back was playing it again a little bit older and wiser. And just the movement in this game is off the walls. I'm sure a lot of speedrunners can kind of empathize with just you can kind of go as fast as your hands let you in a lot of situations. But at the same time, like, there's no such thing as movement that doesn't make you improvise just a little bit in this game. And yet it's still all skill. And I've never seen a balance quite like that in other games.
Yeah, I love that kind of balance in speedruns where it's just you've got a good idea of how you want things to go, but it's really down to the skill of the runner to be able to figure out that the details
Yeah.
to get there, right? Like the
Yeah.
connecting pieces.
Your swing is just a little bit off, and then now the path is different, and the plan is also a little different.
So would you say that this run it mostly comes down to the actual like movement, the swinging from point A to point B and all that, or is it more about finishing those missions quickly, combat encounters, stuff like that?
Yeah, well, the movement is the main course for sure. But a lot of the big deals are, the combat and specific movement combat interactions and things like that. So there's a lot of variety in the run at the same time. And the combat kind of serves to break up the movement and make it so it's not just an hour of swinging.
Right.
And the best part about the combat is that each one's just different enough that it's kind of like you going to a theme park and seeing all the rides.
Man, that is a really good way to describe that. I've actually never thought of that analogy before. That's so
Me
great.
neither. I cannot believe I came up with it on the spot.
it's the improvising that you got to do in the run. It's the natural talent. It's coming out.
Yeah.
Well, so for those of us who are pretty unfamiliar, or is it mostly just kind of getting through the game really fast with just kind of more advanced techniques?
I think it's more about advanced techniques. The movement and the combat are both just like, okay, these are the tools you have, and here's what you need to do. That being said, there's a couple straight up that are like multiple minute savers that are very, very useful because they're the two longest bosses. Just like, it's the kind of thing where you just kind of sprinkle it in a little bit, but the most of the run is just let's play this game good.
Mhm. Now, you told me before we went live here that this is your first GDQ run, but you've actually done some marathon runs before, and you've been speedrunning this game basically since 2015, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So how
yeah.
are your nerves feeling right now? I mean, I'm imagining you're feeling at least somewhat comfortable. It's kind of your home speed game, right?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I am nervous, but not about my. It's weird. I'm not really about my gameplay. I feel like I've been playing hot for like the past few days. Just PB'd the other day.
Hey, congrats.
Thank you. And I feel like 9 out of 10 like my 9 out of 10 is really good. I'm just worried for that 1 out of 10 that isn't so hot. And
Right.
if it it pops up at the wrong time, big like if something really bad happens. But I mean, there's contingencies for that. So just trying to keep my head in the game.
Makes sense. Now, I did want to ask you, is there kind of a moment, and maybe it's one of those boss skips you were talking about, but is there a moment that people should be looking out for in this run? If there's somebody who they know nothing about this game, they know nothing about it as a speed run, what's kind of a moment they should be tuning in for here in the late night chill block, I like to call it?
Well, if you're looking for a big skip, there are the shocker skips, which are towards the end of the run. Those are just like you're probably the closest to like, oh, this guy's just kind of breaking the game right now. But my favorite moment of the run is in chapter 9 when there's a point in you're trying to rescue reporters and defeat enemies in a burning theater. And that is, to me, is probably the best moment where movement and combat kind of mesh in just a very good way, where you're jumping off of robots to get to the next robot and do your air combos there, then swing very precisely and get a reporter. And again, if something goes slightly wrong, now you're kind of dealt a whole new deck of cards. So there's a lot of improv in there, and it's kind of just a very good vertical slice of the type of what's the word? Type of skills that the run tests, I guess.
Man, you're pulling out all the great terms today. We got the roller coasters and the vertical slice center. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And you bring up a huge nostalgia for me too. I remember that movie theater. That was like
Yeah.
the 10th section.
Mysterio.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, that's pretty much all I had. The last question I got for you before I let you get out of here and start preparing for your run is, why is pizza percent a better category than any percent anyways? And why are we seeing that at the next GDQ,
I don't know if I agree it's better, but the people love it.
Yeah.
And I love it. So maybe, I guess we'll have to see.
There we go. I guess, yeah, you'll have to submit. We'll see if it gets in, and we'll have to be the judges ourselves.
I'd love to come back with it sometime.
That'd be great. Well, Sly, thanks again so much for joining me here in the interview, and best of luck on your run. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you all get back to watching some fantastic speedruns. Be sure to check out that Wario Shake It, Wario Land Shake It. I'm mixing up the games, but it's Kirby Master. He's always fantastic. So I'll let you all get back to that, and then you can enjoy that Spider-Man 2 run right after. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, J Hobbs. Yeah, and definitely thank you, Slyfincleton. That Spider-Man 2 run is going to be absolutely fire. Anybody who has fond memories of that game knows they're going to be staying up for it. Coming up next, Kirby Master, longtime friend of GDQ, is here. He's going to be taking us through a super fast run through Wario Land Shake It, a fantastic Wii or Wii U title, as you do, that still looks great and plays great still after all this time. In this run, greed is good. And we're going to be keeping a close eye on our coin count coming up in just a moment. So stick around. We got ourselves a $100 donation from Damir. Says, hey, donating for a good cause and to prevent a horrible disease. Back to lurking and watching some awesome